to catch one 40-pound carp in a session would be amazing. To have two is a dream come true, but to have two in a county that doesn't have many 40s is an absolute amazing achievement. So today I'm back with Frank to talk about a capture that he's recently had, where he had not one but two Cheshire 40s. So what we'll do, we'll hand you all over to Frank and he'll take up the story.
Okay, well, around about 2 weeks ago, at the beginning of September, I decided to come on my Cheshire syndicate water. And it's a syndicate that I've been in for about 4 years. I got in it during lockdown, and it really is a particularly magnificent slice of water. It's about 5 acres. It's always had fish in it, going back many, many years to the 60s and 70s. But they never really did anything. And then my mate got control of it around the year 2000. And he had the hindsight to put a good strain of fish in, and they've nurtured them along. It's a syndicate that's you don't hear very much about, but for Cheshire it's something spectacular. And basically it's a 30-man syndicate, and these fish have got pretty damn big. There's a lot of food in this place, natural food, but the anglers tend to use a lot of bait anyhow, because I came as a guest on this particular syndicate 4 years ago, and I've seen some of the members were using radio controlled boats, and I was never a fan of radio controlled boats. I'm a bit old school, sort of like, you know, if people want to use them, that's their bag, but I was never into them. So I says to my mate who runs the syndicate, I says, surely you're not allowing bait boats? He says, mate, there's vested reasons for it. He said it's up and down like an egg box times 10. There's depths down to 30 feet. There's all kinds of bars and crazy features on it. If you don't get on some of the shelves or on the shallower bits, you're going to put bait in very deep water that the fish probably won't eat, you know, or it could be left and neglected. And he says part of the reason why the fish are getting so big is because people tend to use more bait when they're using boats. So I says, okay, I can see a method in the madness. So I wanted to just cast and that, and then I soon realised I was at a little bit of a disadvantage to some of the guys that have got the stealth mode that bait boats bring. As I say, I was never into these things. So eventually I kind of partially succumbed to it and indeed got one. Don't use them anywhere else, perhaps occasionally in Italy or, you know, European waters where extreme circumstances demand, but just don't use them. Anyway, still don't really know what I'm doing with these bloody things. And I've had quite a few fish using them, pinpointing small accurate features, baiting accurate. Anyway, I'm setting the scene. This bait boat thing was broken, so I had no intention of spomming and putting a load of bait in with the spom, but the bait boat was knackered, so I thought, right, be interesting to use the spom and fish how I normally fish, because I've been fishing other waters that are on a club card and having a lot of success doing a lot of spomming, topping up all the time, really enjoying it. So I thought, let's give it a go on here. So I put casts close to the pads on this particular swim I was fishing with all 3 rods. Didn't make much disturbance, a couple of clean casts, and I didn't use the clip, interestingly enough. If I'm trying to fish tight under features, I don't use a line clip. I just do hand-to-eye coordination, so I slammed them out and got them right under the pads and they cannoned underneath. Then I spommed on each one. I did a mixture of hemp, corn, pellet, some liquids, and every time the spom was crashing in, I thought, do you know what, I'm scaring them to death here because they're just not used to it. But the curiosity part of me was like, I wonder what's going to happen. Anyway, it was a bit ominous. The swim that I was in, the fishing went really quiet and the fish weren't showing in my area. They were showing in other areas of the lake, but really no way where I was. So I thought, I'm knackered here, and it's got a 48-hour limit on it, this particular syndicate. Then I had an 18-pounder on the first morning, which is one of the stockies. I thought, okay, things are looking up. Then it went deadly silent. So I've got an hour and a half to go, and I'm thinking, do you know what? I've blown it here. All the noise of the spom going in on 3 different areas, probably, you know, 60 spoms going in basically, 20 on each. It's probably killed it. I'm fishing locked up solid, and I got a take, and mental battle. One of them where your heart's in your mouth for the whole time. Went on for about 15 minutes. I thought, is it ever going to give up, this fish? So I knew it was one of the big ones, and I got it in the net, and straight away I recognised it's one of the target fish, one of the few that I hadn't caught.
Right, I've just started an absolute monster common, and look at that. It's one I'm fairly sure they call the barbecue common. Never had it before. It was last out at 42 odd. It only comes out once a year, this fish, normally. So there we are. Yeah, nice little return. I've hardly been on this lake all year, so superb. Happy with that.
Anyway, I weighed it, and it was 40 pound 10. So I've got 2 remaining rods locked up solid, and I'm just doing self takes when I get a couple of bleeps on one of my other rods, and carefully put the barbecue common back, slipping that back, and then jumped on the rod. Luckily, I hadn't been able to take any line because I was fishing absolutely locked up solid. Had another battle, I knew it was another big fish.
Right, I can't believe this. I've just had the barbecue common, 40 pound 10. As I was photographing it, I got interrupted by one of my other rods going. And I've got Jimbo at 46.12. 46.12. That's one big fish for Cheshire. So just zeroed him with a Trakker base sling. Yeah, 46.12. How crazy is that?
So it was an 88-pound brace, and for Cheshire, you know, I've lived in Cheshire since I was a kid, and at one time 30s were incredibly rare. And I remember indeed in the early 80s when 20s were super rare, but to catch a brace of Cheshire 40s, and it was a true brace, you know, where you've got virtually 2 takes at once, is super rare. So you know, I just thought it was quite a magical moment, that. And when you see the photographs of these fish, I would have liked to have filmed them, but they were too close together and I couldn't even think about that. But I did self takes, and I was particularly pleased with the outcome of that. So yeah, one of them more memorable sessions of my whole life, I guess. And I dare say, even decades into the future, there won't be many people that get a brace of 40s in Cheshire. I just can't see it, because they're rare as hen's teeth. You know, they're really rare. There's the waters with the odd 40 in Cheshire, but not many. So yeah, it was a nice one. So see what you think when you see the shots, and till next time, see you later.